Hey guys, good early morning to each and every single one of you. Welcome back to the channel United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Hope you're all having a great week so far. Hope you're all looking forward to your day. And I hope you're all looking forward to another brand new weekend in May 2024 this year. First of all, do me a massive favour for me, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Share the video, hit the tweet button, hit the retweet button, and always remember to put the notification bell on at all times to receive dedicated content right throughout the rest of 2024 on the channel. We've got brand new Fortnite, Rocket League, EAFC, Call of Duty, Fall Guys, F1 24, EAFC 25, and we are going to exclusively have the whole summer transfer window covered right throughout this year as well. Once the football season comes to a conclusion, we'll be covering Europe, the EFL, and we will be covering the Premier League transfer news as well. And here we go, basically. 4 cup finals have been reached under Erik ten Hag so far as Manchester United manager, and we find ourselves in back-to-back FA Cup finals against Manchester City on Saturday afternoon. It's another Manchester derby. It's City versus United, blue versus red, Guardiola versus Erik ten Hag. A game where Erik ten Hag has simply got to win. Obviously, I think as Man United fans and Man United supporters at this moment in time, we are all dreading what is going to happen on Saturday afternoon. I don't think one Man United fan or supporter is sitting very comfortably at the moment the way things are with Manchester United. And I couldn't blame them because the whole season, has been shit. And I think the FA Cup final is basically Erik ten Hag's final day as Manchester United manager. I think if we are to lose this cup final, and obviously the consequences of not being in Europe next season, the football club are going to have little choice but to sack yet again another manager, where we basically keep repeating the cycle every 2 years. And United know that they have to win this game to even be a European side next season, because with our league position confirmed of being 8th this season, our worst ever Premier League finishing position ever in Premier League and football history, as well as Man United's history as well, Man United need to win a trophy. We cannot afford to lose this final. We can't afford to let Man City yet again win the double. But obviously, with the Premier League title already wrapped up by Manchester City last weekend on the final day of the Premier League season, Pep Guardiola's side are much going to want to go for another FA Cup final win against Manchester United. Again, I don't think Manchester City would really matter if they lost the FA Cup. I don't really think, in my view, it's going to really matter to a lot to their fans and supporters if they don't win it this year. I think Manchester United need this FA Cup more because of the situation that we currently find ourselves in, where we do need to win. We do need to be in Europe next season, and Erik ten Hag's days are basically numbered if we don't win this. Man United, like I said, are going to have no choice but to get rid of the manager. They're going to keep repeating the cycle, and we are going to keep seeing this cycle for many, many more years to come if Man United do not get their act together. But I've said all season, with some trepidation and some confidence, and I don't know where this positivity's come from. I have said all season long that Manchester United would win the FA Cup. I don't know where that's come from. I don't know how, in my mind, I can think Manchester United are going to win this FA Cup. But Man United need it more than Manchester City, because Manchester City, you look at the records, they don't lie. You look at the goals they're scoring, you look at the play on the pitch that they're producing, and you look at the titles and the trophies that Pep Guardiola is producing at Manchester City ever since he took over at the Etihad. It's been nothing more than a complete, utter domination from the blue half of Manchester. And we've got to put a stop to that this weekend, because if Manchester City win the FA Cup, the dominance from the blue half of Manchester is going to keep carrying on and on and on and on for many, many, many more years to come. And that is a continuous path that we are just going to keep heading down, because Manchester City are absolutely setting the standards of what football should be about and what a team should be playing. Obviously, a lot of people have still got a view on them. They have got still those 115 charges that are still nothing's been done about. And we are waiting with also some trepidation to see what Manchester City's punishment's going to be. But Manchester City are going into this FA Cup final as favourites. There's no question about it. They are favourites to win this on Saturday. And I think, if United were to concede the first goal, I do personally believe the floodgates will open because, again, we've conceded way too many goals this season. I think it's the most goals we've conceded since 1977, which obviously goes way, way back before Manchester United was born. I think if Manchester City get the early goal and they get the goal quite early on, I do personally believe, and like I say, the floodgates will absolutely open up for Man City to find 2, 3, 4, or even 5. I see a lot of people saying this could be a 7 or 8-0 win to Manchester City. I think Manchester City will want to put on a show and they will want to rub salt into the wounds of Manchester United's current campaign where we all know it's been a complete and utter car crash. But the FA Cup is Manchester United's saving grace here. This is the only thing we can win to be in Europe next season. Obviously, taking some time to reflect after Sunday and actually having some time to think about how I personally feel. Obviously, it's still very, very much in the system and the feeling that being in Europe, not being in Europe next season is a complete and utter disgrace. It's shambolic, it's pathetic, it's embarrassing, but we absolutely deserve to be where we are today currently. Manchester United are falling further and further behind their rivals, and their rivals are just stretching the path further and further into the distance where Manchester United are just trundling along in a little slow car and Man United can't keep up. And I think we're just going to continue to head down that road because obviously I didn't expect to make another FA Cup final. I think obviously the win against Liverpool and the lucky win against Coventry in the semi-final, I honestly did believe if we would have lost the FA Cup semi-final to Coventry, that would have been it. And I do believe Erik ten Hag would have lost his job on the spot, but somehow Erik ten Hag has managed to hold on to his job. God knows how, because, we are still playing pretty poorly at the moment. We don't seem to be playing very much attacking, free-flowing football, and not much has changed since these new ownership has come in. I've not seen any change at the club. I've not seen any good direction the club's trying to head in. And so far, I don't see any positivity at Manchester United so far under Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Sir Dave Brailsford. And you can bring in all these sporting directors and CEOs as much as you like, but until I see dramatic change on this pitch, Manchester United will always be a club that are going to continue to fail under the current regime. And I think, if we can win the FA Cup, like I said, it guarantees European football next season. We will be in Europa League. Obviously, Thursday night football will return for us next Sunday. So for next season, which will mean we'll be playing Thursday, Sunday every single week for the new season, which starts in August. So, it's better than not having any European football at all. It's better than not being in Europe at all. But at the end of the day, United need to be in Europe because the way the owners are going to look at this and the way the board are going to look at this, if Man United don't win the FA Cup and Manchester City win the double, Man United are going to lose so much money. And the owners and the board are going to look back with an immediate effect and they will make a quick decision because the manager and the players have cost the club financially for next season's revenue. And you know what the board are like, you know what the owners are like. They're not interested by the results on the pitch. They are interested in money coming into the club. And without Man United in Europe, Man United's value as well as their revenue and their profits are going to absolutely slump. And obviously, I've got no sympathy on that side of things. I've got no sympathy for the owners or the board because they have put us in this mess. And we are basically relying on winning the FA Cup and beating the old rival. And I think, Man City are on a completely different level to Manchester United. I think we've all got to admit that. Man City are on another level. Man United can't get anywhere near them. And the Man City machine will just keep on running until all of a sudden, maybe the manager leaves, their best players leave. I think that's the only way Man City are going to start to crumble unless those 115 charges get dealt to them very, very quickly, which I do believe needs to happen very quickly before the start of next season. Maybe I'm not 100% sure, but those 115 charges have got to be sorted ASAP sooner rather than later because, you've got to applaud what Man City are doing. You've got to applaud what they're winning, and you've got to applaud the players and the manager they've got. They are doing a tremendous job. They are showing the standards of what a footballing team should be about, and they show what a great team they are with a great set of players, a great manager, and a great set of coaches who have got the standards up here for every single game they kick a ball in. Man City are setting the standards of what football should be about, but you can't commend them for their cheating because it's just utterly unacceptable that they've been allowed to get on with this for so many years, and yet we are still waiting today to find out any conclusion to their 115 charges. And I think for me, if they do win the FA Cup, it is going to be a bit of a sour taste in the mouth because they have basically won a trophy again by basically getting away with their own rule breaks. And the Premier League, UEFA and FIFA at the moment have done fuck all to try and commend Man City for what they've done in a bad way by getting away with crap that they've been finally caught out of. And I think that is the only way Man City's dominance is going to stop is when there's 115 charges get published. We see what they get done and what the punishment's going to be, because otherwise this is going to be the same old season next season. Manchester City will just run away with it every single year. And I can see Man City doing it. I can really see Man City's dominance going to carry on for the next 10, 15 years. At the rate this is going, Manchester City will end up turning the Premier League into Liga 1. They will turn it into La Liga. They will turn it into the Eredivisie. It will eventually become a pub league full of teams that are basically trying to chase down Man City, and no one can do it. That was a massive wide. It was a wide opener on Sunday evening once the full-time whistle went on the final day of the Premier League season. That was an absolute wide opener for me that none of them could compete. Let's be really honest here. Is there really point of going again next season where Man City will improve? They'll buy new players to improve their current setup squad that they've got. And Pep Guardiola is never going to drop the standard. And I think, after losing their Champions League title, I think obviously not winning the Community Shield, which doesn't really matter a lot, and obviously the Carabao Cup as well. Man City, after this season, they're not exactly been the treble winners that we all thought they were going to be. I don't think Man City have been that consistent from many seasons. I don't think they've been that consistent this season to what they were last season, where they won the treble and basically ran away with it. I think losing the Champions League on penalties to Real Madrid is quite frankly embarrassing. I think not trying to win the Carabao Cup, again, is quite embarrassing. And obviously the Community Shield, it doesn't really matter. For me, it's the McDonald's Cup. It's not really worth trying to compete or win for. It's not a trophy at the end of the day. It's just a pre-season warm-up to where the standards are going to be for these two teams in the Premier League campaign. So I think for me, Man City will want to go for the FA Cup. They will want to rub the wounds into Man United at the weekend, and they want to put Eric Ten Hag out of a job. Man City will want to end Eric Ten Hag's reign on Saturday evening. And I think for me, the way I've been feeling all week and the way ever since we got to that final and we knew we were going to play Man City, I think we've all got to be really honest and blunt about it, that we all knew we were going to play Man City in that final. We all knew they weren't going to lose to Chelsea, and we all knew Man City are going to go for all the trophies that they compete in. And I think, like I said, losing the Champions League has really sparked Manchester City on to win the Premier League title, and I think that Premier League title win will spark them on to win the FA Cup on Saturday. And I think for me, not trying to be a negative or put any doubt into the Man United players' mindsets or the fans or supporters, this is going to go way one way only, and that is going to be a Man City win. I just can't see Man United rising to the occasion. I mean, it's good Eric Ten Hag giving speeches at the end of the season to our last home game at Old Trafford against Newcastle before last weekend's game against Brighton. It's all good and hope trying to get the fans on side and trying to, get them up for it. For me, the damage has already been done, and it's way too little too late to fix the breaks. There's too many cracks that are being papered over yet again. And I think for me, the cracks are only going to get bigger and bigger. I think for me, this will seal the fate of our manager. I don't think Manchester United will wait to make a decision. Maybe they will sack Ten Hag if we do lose the final. Maybe they'll keep Ten Hag if we win. Or maybe they will still get rid of him anyway, no matter the result, because that is the whispers and the rumours we are getting out of Old Trafford. We could win the FA Cup and still sack him. If we lose the FA Cup, I think you know what the board are going to do. But the problem is, if Eric Ten Hag is going to have a proper structure, like Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Sir Dave Brailsford and Jason Wilcox have apparently all promised in the summer, I think for me, all this promise and hope and belief is absolutely false optimism. We are trying to turn around a club that is basically on its knees again. We are trying to turn around a football club that is all about profit and revenue. And we are trying to turn around a team that has been a complete and utter disgrace all season long, where we've got players who are refusing to play, players who are refusing to train, and we've got players making up every excuse in the book not to fight for this football club anymore. And I think Eric Ten Hag has got way too much to deal with. I think Eric Ten Hag knows that the problems at Man United are too big to deal with. And I don't see all this optimism that the fans and supporters have for Manchester United. Even though I'm a Man United fan myself, I don't see how Man United fans and supporters can be any slight optimistic next season that things are going to turn around dramatically and that Manchester United are going to be on the up. I think it's false hope. I think we are trying to PR this right through the summer so we don't piss off the club, we don't moan at them, and we don't beg for signings like we were doing last summer where Man United were dramatically needing them. I don't want to see that again, but I can see that is the way we're going to head, because I think for me, Man United are going to want to PR this as much as possible, where if we win the FA Cup, they'll be in Europe. But being in Europa League isn't exactly great. It's not great being in that competition. And I know a lot of clubs, take that competition quite seriously, because if you win it, you get back into the Champions League the season after and you go into the new format. But the problem is it's playing every Thursday, Sunday. And I'm not using that as an excuse, but that could absolutely destroy our season. You look what it did to Liverpool, you look what it did to West Ham, you look what it did to Villa, and you look what it did to Brighton. A lot of those English clubs have had their seasons destroyed by Europa League football, by playing Thursday, Sunday. I think they have got to change this format of playing Thursday, Sunday. I just don't think it's fair on those clubs that are trying to compete in games where, if you're traveling across Europe quite a lot to, countries across the world that are further than, the UK, you've got to respect that these players are going to be absolutely on their knees when they come back for the next game, which is only like in 2-3 days' time. And then you've got to recoup the players. You've got to get them prepared and ready for the next game. I don't think it's been fair this season by the amount of football that these clubs have had to play. But I think for me at Manchester United, it's not one for all, one for all, and one for one. I think for me, these players have only been in for themselves. I think they know that this is basically make or break for some of their careers, especially, with the England squad announcement yesterday that, certain players like Jadon Sancho and Marcus Rashford have been left out of the Euros premium squad selection. And also, I don't understand how Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw have got into England's squad for Gareth Southgate's Euro campaign with the international team. I don't understand how they've been selected or called up, especially when they've been battling injury. I can't quite justify that. I mean, are these players basically trying to hold back for the Euros to keep themselves fit? Or are these players wanting to get away with their excuses? Time will tell, but it's like, we've known the truth for at least 2 weeks now that the United players have been dramatically over-enhancing their injury problems, that the players have basically been lying to us. And I think for me, at the end of the day, a lot of these players' futures will be decided by the full-time whistle at Wembley, because United will need to clear out half this deadwood if it's a bad defeat. And like I said, Man City get the first goal, the floodgates are going to open. And if we lose by just the one goal, I mean, I see someone on Twitter say, if United only lose by one goal, it's not exactly bad. But I would then come back and disagree with that comment and view, because United still aren't going to be in Europe. We need European football. I want to at least be in something that we can compete in. I personally don't want Thursday night football, but I think Man United need it to try and recruit in the summer to get these players who want to come to us on side that being part of the next project is going to be successful, because you don't want to buy players who are then going to come to the club and turn exactly to what these United players have turned into today, which is absolutely spoiled little brats who, throw their toys out the pram with every opportunity they get. And they think it's funny. They think it's hilarious, but I'm not laughing. I'm not finding it hilarious. I'm finding this quite childish from a bunch of players who basically haven't given a shit all season long, and they've let this league position known to the fans and supporters that is basically, we're going to shit on all of you. Don't come at us with your views. Don't come at us with your opinions. Don't tell us how we can play. You've got no right to criticise us. These players have basically shat on the fans all season. And those players know if they don't turn up Saturday, half of them are going to be gone in the summer. I think, do you know what? They're all going to be shitting themselves ahead of Saturday. I think they know they're going to get a beating. I think they know they're going to get an absolute drubbing. But they're also going to know, well, if we don't step up here, we don't perform, we are going to be shifted out of this club very, very quickly. Especially with all this change that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is trying to bring in. He isn't going to be afraid to make quick decisions about our futures. And he ain't going to be afraid to, make that decision on my future. It ain't going to take long. It could be a matter of hours, days. It could be minutes. It could be seconds. It could be done on the day. You just don't know where these players' minds up on Saturday. But I'm hoping these players are going to go for it, because winning the FA Cup, that is 2 trophies in a row under Erik ten Hag. That isn't exactly bad. We've got to 4 finals in 2 seasons in a row under this manager. So Erik ten Hag must be doing something right. But the problems that have been exposed, and the bunch of spoiled brats that have thrown everyone under the bus in these players, it basically shows what Erik ten Hag is having to deal with all season long. It's these fucking squad of players. And I keep chatting to my parents about it, that I told them I'm not pinpointing all the blame on Erik ten Hag. I've got to blame these players as well, who are failing to step up to the plate and failing to step up to the mark where it's needed. And these players have allowed these standards to slip because they know they don't want to go back to being that successful, formidable team anymore. You wouldn't see that at Man City. You wouldn't see that at Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs, Villa, Newcastle. You wouldn't see that players slipping, players dropping off, players falling to below par standards. You don't see that at any other club in the Prem. At Man United, I think they think, well, we've got 1 trophy. We won last season. We've got top 4. We've got Champions League football. What's there to complain about? What's there to moan about? Well, you're meant to be able to improve, to take those standards into against next season and be able to produce results that the fans and supporters are going to be happy with, because these players have got another manager gone. They have got another manager sacked. So congratulations again to a bunch of spoiled players who've yet again got the manager out of this football club. And I'm absolutely sick of it, because if you're going to keep repeating the process, there's one other thing you've got to look at. It needs these fucking set of players. If they're not willing to fucking give any grit or give any determination to absolutely fight anymore, then it's not just the manager that needs to go. It's the whole squad altogether. I mean, you could probably keep 4 or 5 key players, but again, you're then going to have to bring in at least 20 to 30 new players to play with these lot to get Man United producing football that the fans are going to want next season. I don't know how this FA Cup final is going to go, but if we saw what we saw against Brighton in the first half and Man City turn up, United could be 3 or 4-0 down by half-time. That, for me, is being very realistic, because that Brighton first half was absolutely dreadful. I could not believe some of the people hyping up that we were playing such good, attractive football. I mean, I don't know what people were watching in that first half. Man United were dreadful, and apparently we were playing free-flowing, attacking, stylish football. No, we weren't. We were playing bang average, mid-table football at a team like Brentford would do. That is not what Man United need to turn into. We need to be playing our own football and not focusing on what other styles of plays other teams have got. We aren't fucking Brentford. We are Manchester United at the end of the day. And apparently I see the fans hyping the performance up. We were lucky we came away with Brighton with anything, because the way they were tearing into Man United in that first half, Brighton could have been 3 or 4 up by half-time. They could have been 3 or 4 up. But the problem is the only player that really, really caused a threat was their striker and João Pedro. He was the only one that was causing Manchester United any problem at all. That rest of that Brighton squad is bang fucking average. When you've got players like James Milner, who's finished, Adam Lallana, who's finished, and Danny Welbeck, who's an ex-Arsenal and United reject, are you surprised Brighton didn't come away with anything? Because at the end of the day, that shows why Brighton did not get the goals at the weekend, and the chances they got created themselves, they did not convert and did not take. That is why Brighton didn't beat us on Sunday, because they're better players and they don't have available to them. They're relying on James Milner. They're relying on Adam Lallana. They're relying on James Milner, Adam Lallana, and Danny Welbeck. Those players' careers have been done for so many years now. And when you haven't got players like Matoma available, who again was a key asset to Brighton's form last season, what got them European football, he's been a massive blow for Brighton. Since he's had that bad injury, Brighton have really missed him. That is why Brighton struggled on Sunday, because they didn't have that creative winger that could make a spark on that Man United back four. And when you've got João Pedro, who for me has been Brighton's best player all season long by a mile, he had so many opportunities. I mean, the amount of chances he didn't take, he could have had a hat-trick inside of the first half. And the problem is, when you know you've got that United back four, is Ten Hag going to go back to a balanced back four, or is he going to risk the humiliation of playing Johnny Evans and Casemiro at centre-back, trying to defend against Erling Haaland, Phil Foden and Jeremy Doku? That could be embarrassing. If you put Casemiro and Johnny Evans at centre-back for Sunday, United will get torn apart in that back four. That back four will get split open so many times, because they won't be able to deal with the threat of Foden. They won't be able to deal with Erling Haaland, and they won't deal with Doku. Those three at the moment are formidable in the Premier League. They showed it when they won the league against West Ham last weekend. Those three players, I think, for me, are United's biggest problems going forward at the weekend, is trying to keep those three quiet. I don't think we can. I don't think we've got the players or the talent at this club to shut these three up. Those are Man City's three best players at this current moment in time: Doku, Grealish, and Foden. Doku, Haaland, and Foden. If you can't keep them quiet and they get an early goal, all right, like I said earlier, the floodgates will open, and Man City will want to batter us. They will want to rip us apart, and they will want to show why they are the best team in Manchester. They will want to show why they want to win the FA Cup, because they can score a hell of a load of goals. You saw how easy it was to split West Ham open at weekend. I mean, I could not believe how bad West Ham have been under David Moyes recently, and that is why he's been sacked. I can't understand why West Ham didn't try and turn up and park that fucking bus against Man City and try and break them on the counter-attack, because that was the only way you could have stopped them. But Man City did concede that world-class goal through Mohamed Kudus. I mean, it was a fantastic goal. And for me, could have easily have got a goal of the season ahead of Garnacho's goal against Everton. But that's the only problem and the only fault Man City had at the weekend, was the Kudus goal that they conceded. That was the only error for me I could have taken from their game, because the rest of it was absolutely fantastic. I mean, West Ham were at 6s and 7s. I mean, they tried to convert to a back four. They went to a back five. The problem with West Ham is, since Declan Rice walked out that club and left them for Arsenal, that is why West Ham all of a sudden have turned really shit, because they had a world-class holding CDM at the club who went to Arsenal because he wanted to be ambitious. You knew he wasn't going to stay at West Ham, and West Ham, with the problems with West Ham, they didn't replace him. And I think West Ham are going to struggle next season, because they'll lose Kudus, they'll lose Bowen, and they'll lose Paqueta. West Ham could be in a relegation fight next season if they lose those three players, because I honestly expected Bowen to play. Apparently was out ill, more like I don't want to be here anymore. Paqueta didn't really offer anything for West Ham. Kudus was probably West Ham's best player for that whole game away at the Etihad. But apart from that, the only error for Man City's game was the goal they conceded. The rest of it is absolutely exceptional football. I just can't see Man United being able to keep them out. I just can't see them doing it. I just think Man City are going to have way too much quality on the day. I think Man City are going to want this, and they're going to want to go for it brutally. They are going to want to destroy United, and they're going to want to put on a show. They're not just going to sit there and hold back. They're going to want to attack us with every attacking opportunity they get. And they've also not just got a great attack, they've got a great fucking midfield as well. I mean, you know, we all thought when they signed Calvin Phillips, it would be a major, major boost for Man City's midfield. That move obviously hasn't worked out since he signed from Leeds. But since he's gone, he's not been a big miss. And Man City's midfield has been congested with De Bruyne, Rodri, and Bernardo Silva. I mean, you put that against Man United's midfield, what would you rather have? Would you rather have Fernandes, Mainu, and McTominay, or would you rather have De Bruyne, Rodri, and Bernardo Silva? I think I know what I'd be taking. I would be going for the Man City option because the midfielder is just the midfielders they've got are just they're above our level massively. The standards Pep gets out of that midfield three is exceptional. Rodri, for me, who has been massively Man City's best player this season. I mean, the CDM role he does for their club. I mean, I never knew why Man United never looked at Rodri when he was playing for Athletic Bilbao. Why we never ever looked at that deal. The job he could have done for us at CDM would have been exceptional. Why Man United absolutely missed a trick with it is because of the lack of recruitment. But the job he has done for Man City this season has been exceptional. He's a fighter, he's a warrior, he's a beast. That CDM role is absolutely his own. And he also creates opportunities. He scores a lot of goals from the midfield. And when De Bruyne ain't doing it, or Bernardo Silva ain't doing it, Rodri's doing it for him. And the goal he took on against West Ham on Sunday evening, absolutely exceptional goal. And basically clinched that Premier League title for Man City, which they've won the Premier League now 4 years in a row, and it's getting very, very boring. But it's the standard of those players. I mean, you've still got Kyle Walker producing. You've still got Guardiola, who's been such an exceptional signing, who is now scoring Premier League goals from the centre-back position. Nathan Ake, Ruben Diaz. I mean, the list of players that Man City are producing and the quality they're getting out of their players is absolutely phenomenal. It's because Pep doesn't drop the standards. But at Man United, it's a completely different story where we have heard injuries this, injuries that, injuries this, injuries that. And we've heard it all season long. I mean, I'm not being rude, but how boring is everyone getting of hearing it out of Ten Hag's mouth? That the injuries have been a real problem. They haven't been a problem. It's just because these players can't be bothered. Don't come at me telling me that Man United's problems this season has been down to the injuries they've had. It's utter bullshit. It's a complete myth. It's worse than the financial fair play shit. It's worse than the sell to buy crap. I mean, are we going to start comparing that to that? Because if the players can't be fucked, then they need to get out of the club. It's simple as that, really. I mean, 2 + 2 = 4. One add one equals 2. You need to get rid of the problematic players, and we all know who they are. And I don't think Ten Hag realises that. I think Ten Hag's quite naive. I think Ten Hag doesn't really realise, bloody hell, I've got a lot more problems than what I thought I had here. And I'm having to use these players who are, not giving a shit, and I'm using them. And, I need to realise very quickly that they're not really committed to this. And I need to realise that these are snakes. These players are snakes. But, if you take from the Brighton result, United can take something, they can still score goals. And we've actually kept a clean sheet. I mean, I didn't expect United to keep a clean sheet this week. I mean, that was because of Brighton's lack of goal-scoring threat. All they've got is João Pedro, and that basically is about it. So United have got a lot more problems. But the positive is we can score goals. But I think if Erik ten Hag decides again, which I don't understand why he still does it, why he still carries on with the same team, winning team every week. I mean, remember when we used to see the winning team photos in training when it was Solskjaer and Ragnick at the wheel? Remember we used to see all those photos and all those pics of winning team in training? I think, again, we could have done with a person like Ralph Ragnick working alongside Erik ten Hag, where he did claim, and I quote, "We need open heart surgery," and that's never been done. I think if Ralph Ragnick would have worked with Erik ten Hag this season and last season, we would have been a lot more stable club and a lot more successful, and we haven't. And we paid a price for letting Ragnick go. We should have never let Ralph Ragnick walk out this door. Again, that is on Manchester United at the end of the day for letting that happen. But we can't afford to rest on that now. He's not here. We could have done with Ralph Ragnick to help Erik ten Hag keep his job. But again, it's too little too late. The damage has already been done. You can't change anything now. unless something dramatic happens on Saturday, where I just can't see United getting a result. And again, I'm not trying to be negative, but I just don't still trust these players. I mean, you can beat Brighton, you can beat Newcastle, fair enough. But at the end of the day, where has that been all season where you can win consecutive games in a row? Where is the top four ambition? Where is the Champions League ambition? Where's those Carabao Cup defending champions gone? Where was that Champions League group team gone? I just don't see it, because the players have basically gone back to their old ways. They don't want to try. They don't want to perform, and they don't want to be able to adapt their gameplay. But again, that is also down to Erik ten Hag, who again hasn't changed the team for 2 weeks. The only change he made against Brighton was Martinez for was it Johnny Evans against Newcastle? That was the only change that Erik ten Hag made on Sunday. And again, it was a positive change in defence, but apart from that, what did United offer? As soon as we made those subs in the second half and Højlund was brought on and we sacrificed one of our midfielders, Erik ten Hag carries on using this false nine. I don't know why he still does it. I don't know what his obsession with the false nine is in this team. I just don't get why Erik ten Hag has got no guts to change it. Does he realise this false nine formation that he's using is actually costing us? Does he realise the false nine is not benefiting Manchester United in any way as possible? Does he know that? Does he realise that? I am still not thinking Erik ten Hag's the right manager, because I looked at Brighton and I looked at Newcastle. It clearly didn't work. And I think for me, you are going to see Erik ten Hag out this door sooner rather than later if he carries on trying to blindfold us with the false nine's a good idea. That ain't going to work against Man City. Erik ten Hag is going to have to dramatically change this team up, and he is going to have to make some major, major calls on Sunday and get this team on firing on all cylinders. We can't afford to concede a early goal. We can't afford to go to half-time 1 or 2-0 down. United, if we can get to 0-0 at half-time, I will take it. But we are going to have to score in the second half and then score late on to win it. Because that is the only way I can see us winning this game. Because if we are behind at half-time and it's an abysmal performance and we are heavily losing, the game's gone. It's done and dusted. United ain't winning the FA Cup. We're not going to be in Europe, and it'll be one trophy in 7 years. I hope we're not sat here on a Saturday evening with defeat. I hope we're not sat here with a loss, because that is going to hurt. I'm nervous. I'm frightened. I've got so much trepidation. I just can't see us doing it. I don't want to sound negative before the final, but you've got to put into perspective. We are down here. Man City are like up here and even more, like through the roof. And it's the standards. It's the standards of their club. Man City are miles and miles above us, and they're going to keep increasing the gap. I just don't see Erik ten Hag, changing the team. I mean, if I was to change the team, I would play a completely balanced back four. I would play a balanced midfield, and I'd play a balanced attack. Scrap this false nine obsession and get a striker put down the middle. Keep Garnacho and Ahmad on the left and on the right wing. The midfield three, Casemiro, Mainu and Fernandes. The back four, what I would do, because we've got no left back. I don't know why ten Hag did not see this, by the way. I don't understand why he didn't see it. And I think for me, maybe we try and do it on Sunday. We put Martinez at left back. We go with Lindelof and Varane and Dalot. That is a balanced back four. You've got a left back who's left-footed at left back. You've got two centre-backs and you've got Dalot. That is what you call a balanced team. But I think for me, Erik ten Hag is settled on the team he's got at the moment. I don't think he wants to drop McTominay. He doesn't want to drop Casemiro, and he doesn't want to drop Amrabat. Amrabat was shocking on Sunday. I think he had one good game against Newcastle, and he absolutely blew it on Sunday against Brighton. Amrabat is not going to get signed in the summer. I hate to say it. Amrabat was meant to be this signing. I wanted Amrabat. I loved when we got him. But now, putting it into perspective, it's not worked, is it? And I think for me, the opportunity he had on Sunday, he absolutely blew it. And I think for me, change has got to come in that team on Saturday. We can't afford to have liabilities and passengers in that team, because we are going to end up having to carry them through the whole game. We can't afford to do that for 90 minutes. We don't want this going to extra time, and we don't want this going on penalties. We want to get this done in 90 minutes. We can't afford extra time. I don't want penalties because it will be destroying if we don't win. Because seeing Man City lift that FA Cup is going to be heartbreaking. I hope we don't see that. But Erik ten Hag has got to change something to make this team win on Saturday. Because we need this. We need to win the FA Cup. Let's get into Europe and let's try and build on this. Because there are still positives to take. Only a few. Last season, Carabao Cup, top 4 Champions League football. This season, no European football currently. No top 4. No trophy. But the positive is we've made 4 finals in 2 seasons in a row. 2 years in a row under Erik ten Hag. So we must be doing something right in the positive direction. We just don't have the players to keep doing it. We don't have the squad to keep doing it because the squad have been getting away with their bullshit and it's been figured out. It's been leaked and they've been exposed. And the players have got nowhere to hide now. I just want them to give their all on Saturday. I want to show them and to show us that they can beat Manchester City. I want them to show us that we can win this FA Cup. I've said it all season. We'll win the FA Cup. I don't know where it's come from still, but I've something got back in my mind saying United are going to do this and we're going to win that FA Cup. And if we do, I think for me, it might keep Erik ten Hag in a job. Because the only reason I say that is because Sir Jim Ratcliffe is going to look at this. So Dave Brailsford, Simon, that guy we signed from Southampton, and hopefully Dan Ashworth when he comes in eventually, how long ever that's going to take, God knows. They might look at that and think, do you know what? We've been shit this season, but we've won the FA Cup. We've made 4 finals in 2 years. We're in Europe. It may not be the Champions League, but it's a step into the Europa League where we could win it. Win that, back into the Champions League next season. We build again, and we keep building until this club is massively stable and massively being able to fight for all honours. Because I think, Ineos want the best for the club, but I just haven't seen any of it so far. I think everything is hinging on what happens on Saturday. If it's a heavy defeat, Ten Hag goes. If we win the FA Cup, Ten Hag still might go. If Ten Hag wins the FA Cup, we might keep him. Because, if you look at the managers available now, you look at the Chelsea situation, Pochettino's been has gone. He's now been linked with the United job. Southgate, De Zerbi, Potter, Tuchel. Brighton need a new manager. Chelsea need a new manager. Man United might need a new manager. Bayern Munich are going to need a new manager. Barcelona are going to need a new manager. Juventus are going to need a new manager. AC Milan are going to need a new manager. That is 7 top clubs across Europe that are all going to need managers. I think everything is dwindling on Man United. I don't know why I feel that, but I feel that is the way things at the moment seem to be going for this football club. Everything is hindering on Man United's potential success. But I think there is still a long way to go. And, anything can happen in football. There can be miracles. There can be times of moments of happiness and glory. I just hope, and I'm praying, crossing all my fingers and toes, my ears, my eyes, my mouth, my lips, my nose. I am crossing everything that we can do something. I'm hoping for some dramatic outcome and that United lift that FA Cup and we win our 13th FA Cup of all time and we go level with Arsenal. Because United need it more. I don't think Man City will be too fast. But I think losing the Champions League has hurt Man City. The UEFA Super Cup, they won that last season, so that's still another trophy. The Carabao Cup doesn't really matter to Manchester City. The Community Shield, they don't really give a shit about it. It's not a trophy, it's just the McDonald's Cup. They're not going to really matter about that. I think they're just going to want this FA Cup so they know they can win the double. Because they're going to not want to see another bus parade in Manchester. Because Man United will absolutely PR this like no tomorrow. If we win the FA Cup, they will PR this like no tomorrow. And they will want a bus parade for this. I would be celebrating it. Because you've won the FA Cup. I love the FA Cup. It's one of my favourite competitions in world football. I want this more than ever because this is going to give Man United a stepping stone to potentially keeping this manager. I don't want to see Ten Hag fail. I don't want to see Ten Hag go deeply. I don't want to see Ten Hag go emotionally. But I think because the way this season has gone and the way things are, it's too late. And we are going to be on manager 7 in 11 years. I mean, if someone had told me that after Sir Alex, not a chance. I would not have believed any soul or any person in this world telling me Manchester United would be on 7 managers in 11 years. Because that will happen if they do sack Eric Ten Hag. And like I said, everything is dwindling on this result. Eric Ten Hag knows he needs it. He knows Man United need it. He knows the consequences. He knows they need some kind of European football. But again, it's going to be a matter of making miracles happen at Wembley. And hopefully the players will see that, do you know what, we need to do this. We need to give something back to the fans. We need to give them at least something to say, do you know what, we're sorry the way this season's been. We apologise the way we've performed and the way we've played. We're sorry about the way the Champions League went. We're sorry about the way the Carabao Cup defence went very quickly. And we're very, very sorry about the way the Premier League's gone as well. And we will learn from these lessons. We will learn from the problems. And we will learn in the future that we can't keep falling to these below par standards again. Because for me, it's unacceptable. It's getting to that point now where it's getting unacceptable. It's getting stupid. It's getting silly. I just want to see Eric Ten Hag succeed. But I'm hoping he will make the right decisions I think he needs to make. Get Casemiro back at CDM. Get McTominay and Amrabat out this team. Mainu, Fernandes in front of Casemiro. Højlund back in is our main striker and the main goal-scoring threat, with Ahmad and Garnacho on the left and on the right wing. Back 4, Martinez at left back, Varane, Lindelof and Dalot, Onana in goal. That is what I think Ten Hag needs to go with. If he wants to win this FA Cup and he wants to see Man United lift it, make the changes he knows he's got to do. Otherwise, it's game over. It is game over for him. And I think, Ten Hag will be sad. He'll be frustrated. But I think, it's pretty much this sacking's been incoming for so many weeks. But Man United would then have to get the right manager appointed. And maybe there's no one out there that we want. Maybe we don't want to sack Ten Hag. Maybe deep down we want to keep him, and that is the big plan. And maybe we're going to have to give him a new contract because Eric Ten Hag's contract does run out next year in 2025, which I only just realised a few days ago. I didn't even know. His contract goes in another year. So we might lose Eric Ten Hag for free next season anyway if he goes. But it depends on Saturday. Win the FA Cup, he might have a job. Lose the FA Cup, he's pretty much a goner. And it could be made Saturday night, the decision. It could be made Sunday. It could be made Monday. United will need to make this happen quick because they will want a new manager in quickly because we've got the summer transfer window and they're going to not want to have to wait till the Euros. United will need a managerial appointment quickly, but it will have to be the right one who's going to get Man United blending. Because we've not seen it in season 2. We have basically turned into mid-table bloody West Ham and Brighton, haven't we? We have fallen to their level, and it's the sad reality. But United will want a manager in before the Euros. They've got to do something. If they're waiting for Southgate, forget that. He ain't the right one. I would personally go with now. If I have to take Pochettino, I'll take him, even though his Chelsea career has been ruined and been embarrassing. And a joke. Tuchel's there waiting, and so is De Zerbi. You've got 3 managers there. I wouldn't personally want Pochettino. For me, it's between De Zerbi and Tuchel. I would want Thomas Tuchel because I know his Bayern Munich career has not gone well. He's been sacked. He's going to leave. Can he handle the instability at Manchester United the way it's been? Can Tuchel manage in that environment? Can Tuchel receive the right backing that he needs? Will he get the players he wants? Will he get rid of the players he don't want? Will Man United rebuild under him? I'm not 100% sure. Because when a new manager comes in, he's going to want to evaluate this squad. He'll want to evaluate the players. and they want to have a deep diagnosis of where Man United's problems are. United can't afford to be messing about here. We can't afford to be messing around. We need to get an appointment of a manager in quickly if they sack Ten Hag. And if they do sack him, we will go live and we will react to it, and I'll give my view and give my opinion. But like I said, it relies on the FA Cup result. Everything is hindering on Man United's success or failure. And we've got to feel optimistic. We've got to feel some kind of positivity going into Saturday. I'm going to be more hopeful, but I'm still going to be very, very cautious and nervous and worried with the way this final is going to go. Because I think for me, I think it's going to go one way and one way only. And that will be, unfortunately, a Manchester City FA Cup win again, 2 years in a row, again, against Man United, again, 2 years in a row at Wembley, losing the FA Cup final again. I don't want to see that happen. So I'm going to go cautious from the scoreline. If United is going to hold them out late and score a late dramatic win in near the 90th minute, and we win 1-0 and sneak this, we win the FA Cup. And let's hope that happens. But I think for me, realistically, this has got a Manchester City win written all over. So let's see what happens. So hit the like button and the share button. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Share the video. Hit the tweet button, hit the retweet button, and to always remember that notification bell. If you put that bell on at all times, you will receive dedicated content, brand new content right throughout the rest of this year in 2024. Brand new Fortnite, Rocket League, EAFC, Formula One. We've got more previews. We're going to have match reactions. We've got brand new shorts, videos, and live streams planned. We've got the summer transfer window covered right throughout this year once the football season comes to a conclusion. We'll be covering Europe, the EFL, and the Premier League with any breaking news and transfer news coming across the globe. And obviously, join me after the full-time whistle on Saturday evening at Wembley once the FA Cup final between Man City and Man United comes to a close and finishes. Join me for the full-time whistle after in the FA Cup final on Saturday evening, and we'll see what happens. But, we need to win the FA Cup. Come on, United. Come on, you Reds. Please win the FA Cup. Let's fucking do this. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the rest of the week. Stay safe. Be nice. Be kind to each other. You're all legends. You're all legendary. And I'll see you on the next one.